call this meeting of the New Brunswick Parking Authority to order. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been complied with and satisfied, and that the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time, place, and conduct of all public meetings of the New Brunswick Parking Authority, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on the appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News and Tribune, as per the annual notice provided in a resolution adopted by this governing body on December 29, 1975. I think everybody has received the minutes of the board meeting of May 23rd, regular and closed session. If I don't have any changes to those minutes, I'd look for a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mitch, I think...
Yeah, I have just a few items. First off, we have our kickoff meeting tomorrow with Quinn Construction. They're the group that's going to be handling the restoration and maintenance of the garages this year. Basically, the garages affected are Gateway, Patterson Street, Church, Morris, and Civic Square garages. Running about $270,000 is the bid for that work. And about 50% of that is the Patterson Street deck alone. So that is the oldest of the garages. So. And next thing is we put out for competitive contracting concession for pay-by-cell. That's currently used Park Mobile, where you pull up to a meter and you can pay the meter on your cell phone.
Right.
So their contract expires beginning of August, so we went out and asked for competitive contracting for that service. And we did receive 3 responses, Park Mobile, Park Eon, and Passport. There was a 5 items of criteria that needed to be met, as well as weighted as far as points go. Criteria include qualifications and expertise, ease of use and interface, past proven performance, financial resources, and cost. The cost being to the customer. And after reviewing all the submittals, it was determined based on the points that Park Mobile was the highest, I guess met the most criteria, if you will, and therefore the recommendation is to give Park Mobile the latest contract for the pay-by-cell. So things would basically remain the same as currently. All right, so I have a resolution on tap, and we'll approve that.
What's the length of that?
The length is it's a 2-year contract with up to 3 one-year renewals.
Okay.
So most is 5 years.
That was very well done. That was the recap that you distributed to us earlier in the week, which was very helpful. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was good. And
Right.
who put that together? Just the staff? You
Yes.
folks? Yeah.
the evaluation committee.
Yeah, it was very well done.
All right. And lastly, we had an unfortunate incident on Sunday where a female committed suicide by jumping off our Plum Street garage. It wasn't the first time. We've taken up we put in some options, if you will, as far as to prevent that type of occurrence. Just to remind the board that we installed a perimeter camera system. We also do hanging signage throughout all our facilities. A signage gate helpline, helpline number to call if you feel like you need assistance. And we're currently looking at other options to help deter future actors from taking their lives.
Okay. She'll report back to us as to look at those options.
Yep.
And see what the opportunities are.
Yeah, I'm trying to contact people in, throughout the parking world, if you will, and engineers, and see what's available.
Okay, Mitch, is there some consistency as it stay with the top floor and just leave
Basically, that's it.
It's what's been happening, and,
Yep.
yeah, so, okay.
Yep.
So, and it's been pretty
My
much.
understanding, this one was very quick. It was spanned between 4 minutes from they entered the garage to the time they committed that act.
Right.
So it wasn't like they got up there and
Yeah, it's looking,
Looking,
and the
yeah.
camera, so in a
Debating, yeah.
circumstance like that, a camera is not gonna. you
Yeah,
know,
it's
what's it
just
gonna
too
do?
fast.
Just- Yeah. That's tough. All right, thank you.
you're welcome. That's all I have in my report.
That's it? Okay, thank you, Mitch. Bright, do you have anything?
Nothing, except the financial statement was emailed for me, I have nothing to add.
Okay,
Yes,
it looks like we're pretty much on budget with
Yeah, we're right on budget.
Good. Okay, anything legal?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Is there any public comment this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Charles Cradaville. I'm a New Brunswick resident, editor of New Brunswick Today, candidate for mayor of the great city of New Brunswick. Had a couple of questions for you about a number of issues. First of all, I want to thank the executive director who validated my parking after the last board meeting. I just want to understand if that's the policy that people who attend this meeting
Absolutely.
get to
yeah.
park in the gateway decks.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
With regard to the Superfresh tenants, I was informed also by the executive director that they are still short paying the rent. They paid $35,000 this month. What is the full monthly rent? It's over $60,000, correct?
It's about 60,000.
Around 60, yeah.
About 60. Is there any update on their long-term potential to pay that rent?
Yeah, I think we met with him. We're trying to look at he's trying to look at some other alternate income sources, within the grocery business. It's, I think, our responsibility to take a look at the space, see what we can do to, look, the goal is to have a grocery store in New Brunswick. We want to have that, and so I don't know if exactly what the form that'll take, but we encouraged him to look at all the opportunities to increase his income to a point where he would be able to pay his rent on a monthly basis. We'll watch for a short period of time to see if that performance catches up with our expectation, and then we'll have to take a look at what the next options are.
Let me just add also that after we met with him, I was also able to speak to Rutgers about having the shuttle stop right there at that, right on Kirkpatrick Street, right alongside, so that should help bring some business and be able to facilitate customers getting to the store that don't have other means of transportation.
Excellent. I'm all about that. I think one of the shuttles does stop there, but not the other.
Just one of them does.
Right, so maybe both could.
Yeah.
Is there somebody here who could give me a figure for the total debt that the authority has? That I was able to find out as of December it was over $396 million. Is there a more current figure that perhaps somebody has?
Well, we don't have that. I mean, I'm not
Should be
speaking
pretty
to
much
you.
the same, kind of, but I don't think there's any.
Well, when's the debt service paid?
The principal is paid in August.
Okay,
Okay.
so
So it's pretty much the same as it was at the end of 2018, 2017, I'm jumping ahead, 2017.
gotcha. And the last item I wanted to ask about is just what is in place now for businesses that would want to offer validation for either their customers or their employees. I know there's a lot of restaurants and bars in New Brunswick where the employees kind of struggle to find parking, and there's always this kind of choice made between the employees versus the customers. And I know there's
We offer the employees, we have a program in place for employees for a much reduced monthly parking, all right, during specific hours, basically off of business hours. So it's like, I don't remember the exact hours, but to give you a ballpark, it's like from 4 p.m. till 6 a.m.
So nighttime.
Nighttime, and it's considerable discount. Do you recall the amount? I'll get back to you as far as the amount. And we brought it forward to City Market, and she put out an email on, like an email blast and memo to businesses in the city market area, the SID, telling them of this program, and we had 0 response. All right?
Okay, so there's a discount that's already offered, but
Already offered.
nobody's
and
using it.
Nobody's using it.
Okay,
That's the first thing. The second thing is, as far as validations go, we offer validation to restaurants, to businesses, for their customers, all right? And usually what it works is that basically if a customer parks there, they might offer a 1-hour validation, they might offer a 2-hour. It's up to the business. But for as long as they want, we'll give that to them, but then we bill back.
right, they end up paying the cost.
Yeah, the restaurant or the business, they pay the cost of the parking.
And how, I guess it's the same way that the supermarket does it?
Yeah.
Through that same system?
Yep.
So they, I guess, scan the card at the restaurant?
Well, there's
or-
different ways to do it. You have a barcode reader, per se, that scans it, or more so office type of validation. If someone has an office, they want to validate, they'll go on the computer and put in, like we do with the ticket you gave us. You punch in the ticket number, and then it goes to our system, and that ticket's validated. So when you go out, it's already considered paid.
So
Right,
either
and then we
computer or barcode reader?
Right.
It has to be
Those are the
involved.
two options.
Okay, but there's no option to validate an employee? Or could the,
If you want to validate an employee, I don't know
but
who's
the
an
business
employee.
has to pay?
Right.
Okay, so.
Like, I have no
so-
way of knowing if it's an employee or a customer, but the business would pay for it.
Okay, and what businesses is this limited to? Anybody in the city market district or
No,
anybody in
anybody
New
in
Brunswick? Okay, so any business that wants to can
They said, they contact us.
sign up and.
Contact, we do a
and
contract.
Begin to offer validation.
Yeah.
And do you provide the barcode reader or they have to buy it or
They buy, if it's a barcode reader, they buy it.
they pay for that?
Yeah.
But that's the only cost to get it?
That's the only cost, but if it's not a barcode, if they want to do it through the computer,
Then there's no
doesn't-
cost.
There's no cost.
Okay, thank you, this has been very helpful.
All right.
Have a great day, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you. My name is Josephine Jaimo. I live in Highland Park. I attend church in New Brunswick. It's the First Reformed Church of New Brunswick. So I'm in town every week, maybe several times a week. And so I guess, because I work in the field of user experience, I have some questions about the user experience and of parking in the city of New Brunswick. So I have a couple of specific questions and I guess a general one. I guess one of the questions I have is who is responsible for pushing notices out to the general public on social media about changes to the parking experience in the city? Is there someone who writes them and who?
Yeah, we have a gentleman who takes care of that for us. Yes.
Can you say who that would be?
Joe Merritt.
Okay, Joe Merritt? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. The reason I'm asking is, a couple weeks ago on Facebook, I got a notice about a change in the way, I'm not remembering it exactly, but it had to do with a change in certain garages about how you are supposed to exit, the process for exiting certain garages, that there was a procedural change, a technical change, a change that affects the user experience.
I'm just going to say, maybe this rings a bell. This is a little further back than a few weeks ago. There was, some of the garages used to still have to put the ticket into the machine when you exited, and then we switched them all so that it scans the barcode. Is that what you're speaking about?
Well, see, I can't confirm that because frankly, when I read the Facebook post, I could not make any sense out of it.
Okay,
And,
all right.
and so I actually did call the parking authority.
Right.
And I believe my call was directed to Joe Merritt's voicemail,
Okay,
and I left a message, but I didn't hear back from him. So I never really got clarity as to what the Facebook post in fact was supposed to communicate.
He can call you back.
He can?
He absolutely can.
oh, he will call you back. If you leave me your information, I will make sure he
Okay,
calls you back.
all right, so that's,
And I apologize for that.
Okay, so that's first of all. And second of all, I did get a notice again via social media about a new app that's being trial run for 100 spaces in, I
Nice.
guess, 4 different parking garages.
So it's a reservation. You can make it.
Yeah, no, I understand it's a
Right,
reservation.
it's not a trial, it's actually in place, so it's,
But the notice said that it was being piloted for 100 spaces.
well, the 100 spaces is the pilot, but it's actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I follow what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's, the reservation system's in place, we're starting out with 100 spaces to see what kind of response we have. You're correct.
So I guess my concern is because being sensitive to the issues of the siloing of technology and how different age cohorts use technology differently. You know, I did talk to some of the other people who go to the church that I attend
Okay,
about whether they knew about this.
okay.
And they said that they didn't. You know, some of them are older, they do not have a smartphone or an iPhone or whatever. And I guess my concern is, you know, and it's a concern that I have in my field as a user experience designer and researcher, and that is that because this technology is so heavily siloed by age, there's the possibility that if all spaces can be reserved using the app, that no one who has the app will be able to park in the garage. So I guess my question is, what consideration has been given to the possibility of that scenario? Because I know of other situations where structurally, different age cohorts have been eliminated from access to certain resources. And so you understand my question?
I got your question.
Yeah.
So I feel there is no concern because there's 100 spaces in the garage. So to give you, the Morris Street garage is one of the garages that have 100 spaces. Well, there's 815 throughout the whole garage. So you're removing 100 spaces, so there's still 715 spaces that are available.
So you're saying that only 100 of the total number of garage spaces will be reservable?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because that also was not clear from the post that I read.
Okay.
So we have some
All right.
wordsmithing to do here, you know,
Okay.
to make it clear what the intent
No, I'm
of the
glad you brought that
rollout
forward.
is.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do to make it clear. We'll put something else out to try to clarify that as best
Okay.
possible.
Okay, so, and then I guess, the more, I mean, I've been parking in New Brunswick for, 30 years, and, I'm not really, frankly, that thrilled with my own personal user experience, and I'm just wondering, what we can do to perhaps begin a conversation to see how we might work together to improve the quality of the user experience. For example, I'm 5 feet tall, and when I attempt to use a parking meter, they're so high, they're so tall, that I cannot read the display. And of course, if it's a sunny day and there's glare, I have no chance of reading those displays, which makes, of course, using the parking meters extremely challenging.
Why don't you,
And that's just one thing
I
on the
know,
list.
so why don't we set up an appointment?
Sure.
All right, and you come in, you can send me an email, and,
Well, let's start the
all right,
conversation.
we'll start the conversation, all ears, and we'll see what we can do.
Terrific.
All right?
I thank you for your time.
Yeah, I just,
Thank
let me I don't have my, after the meeting, are you gonna stay around?
I'm gonna
for-
stay.
After the meeting, I'll give you my business card.
Terrific.
Stephanie, have one in your office?
Yeah.
Go grab
Can you
one.
grab one? It's off my desk.
Yeah, so she doesn't have to wait.
Wait, you're going? All right.
Thanks.
Okay, is there any other board discussion? If not, we can proceed to the resolutions. We have the payment resolution for June. Can I get a motion to accept that in a second? All in favor?
Aye.
And secondly, as a follow-up to the discussion during Mitch's report, we have a resolution approving the payment system whereby we'll approve an initial 2-year agreement with Park Mobile. Any other discussion on that? If not, could I get a motion? And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mitch, any old or new items?
Old business, just a real fast recap on the pedestrian bridge. The 60% drawings were submitted to New Jersey Transit and Amtrak last week, so now we're waiting for them to review it and come back with their comments. Amtrak has, they said it normally takes up to 30 business days for their comments to come out, so
Okay,
that's all I got for old business.
okay. You have closed session items for
I
that?
do have closed session. I have personnel and legal.
Okay. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. We're back in open session. Coming out of open session, we have one action item, and based on the executive director's recommendation, we're very pleased to, and following the retirement of our longtime human resource executive, very pleased to offer that position to Stephanie, who's well qualified, and we're looking forward to her performance in that job. To
Thank you.
move on from Ellen, who really worked hard for us for all those years. So,
She did. She was a great asset. Ellen.
so I would call for approval of a motion to
I'll make a motion.
have
I'll
Stephanie.
second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Stephanie.
Thank you.
If there's no other business, I'd like to get a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.